Hope lives always. Even when we feel stuck, even when we don't know what's going to happen, and even when we are in the midst of the greatest struggles we have known in our lives. You may have noticed behind me, up above my head, so there's one, and there's one, are these little cartoon characters. I want to take one of these down for you. This is one of 3 little cartoon characters that I made for a series of sermons that I preached on the book of Jonah. I've always found a kinship to the prophet Jonah because Jonah was somebody that God wanted to use, but who spent most of his time utterly missing the point. Jonah tries to run in the exact opposite direction that God sent him. And the book ends after Jonah has spoken the message that God has given him to the people that he was trying to run away from to begin with. When Jonah sees that God forgives them, he sits on a hillside with his arms crossed, upset because he wants God to be mad at them. He misses the point even at the end. But the one place where I don't see myself in Jonah as much happens in the middle of the book of Jonah, and that's what this character is doing. This one up here, he's running away from God. This one, he's sitting on the hill, upset. This is in the center. Most people know the story of Jonah. They often think of it as Jonah and the whale, even though there's not a whale mentioned. Instead, it's just a big fish. But after Jonah runs away, God won't let him run too far. You're never going to win hide and seek with God. God has a fish swallow him up. And he is stuck in this fish's belly for days. And while he's in there, he does something shocking. Something that's hard for me and something that I hope we can maybe learn how to do in the midst of this pandemic and outbreak. Jonah prays. But it's not a prayer of why am I struggling or why am I in this fish or when can I get out of here. It's a prayer of thanksgiving for all the good things that God has done for Jonah in his life. A prayer of thanksgiving for God's goodness. That's my hope for us. That in the midst of our own struggle, in the midst of our own giant fish experience, that even now we'll find a way to look at God with thankfulness, thanking God for the blessings that we have seen and experienced in our lives, blessings that we may not be feeling right now, but it doesn't make them any less real, and it doesn't make the fact that we have seen them in the past any less important. So may that be our prayer today. Not a prayer of how long, God. Not a prayer of when, God. Not a prayer of this is what I want, God, but a prayer of thank you. Because hope lives always.